October 12, 1941, North Atlantic, 200 miles west of Ireland. Waves slam against the conning tower of U-96, spray freezing in the autumn wind. Inside the steel belly of the Type 7 submarine, diesel fumes mingle with sweat and oil. Commander Heinrich Lehmann Willenbrock leans over the periscope, eyes narrow beneath his Kriegsmarine cap. Convoy ahead, 5 freighters, 1 escort, maybe 2, he smirks. Easy prey. The crew cheers quietly, the kind of laughter only men used to killing can share. For them, the Atlantic is a hunting ground, and they are the wolves. The Royal Navy's depth charges? A joke. Too slow, too shallow, too few. When the British destroyers circle and drop their explosives, the Germans dive deep and wait out the storm, counting the seconds between thuds. Another wasted load from Tommy, jokes Chief Engineer Fritz Grade, listening to the muffled detonations above. The crew chuckles, their confidence unshaken. They've sunk over 200,000 tons this month alone. The Allies can't build ships as fast as Dönitz's Rudeltaktik, the Wolfpack strategy, can sink them. Each attack follows a pattern. One U-boat spots a convoy, signals others in the area, and together they strike at night, surfaced like predators circling helpless prey. British sonar, or ASDIC as they call it, can only detect subs when moving slowly. And the moment a destroyer turns to attack, it loses contact. The Germans know this weakness, exploit it, and mock it. By dawn, U-96 slips away beneath the Atlantic swells, leaving behind a burning freighter and the smell of oil and salt. Lehmann Willenbrock checks his watch. London won't see that cargo, he says calmly. Send word to Dönitz, another victory for the pack. Back in Lorient, Admiral Karl Dönitz reads the reports and smiles faintly. For now, the Atlantic is Germany's domain, a highway of death. Britain's lifeline depends on convoys from America and Canada, and his wolves are severing it one ship at a time. But across the ocean, in quiet laboratories and workshops, a different kind of war is brewing. A war of sound and silence. March 1942, Fairlie, Scotland. Royal Navy anti-submarine experimental establishment. Rain lashes against the tin roofs as a group of engineers huddle over a table cluttered with circuit diagrams and cables. Among them stands Lieutenant Commander Charles Goodeve, a Canadian physicist turned naval scientist. He stares at a schematic for an experimental device, one that could change the rhythm of the Atlantic War. The problem isn't the depth charge, Goodeve says, tapping the paper with his pencil. It's how we aim it. ASDIC can hear a sub, yes, but the instant a destroyer passes overhead to drop charges, the echo vanishes. It's like hunting blind. A young technician looks up. Then what do we do, sir? Goodeve smiles slightly. We stop guessing. We make sonar smarter. The plan is audacious. Redesign ASDIC to track U-boats continuously, even as the ship maneuvers. At the same time, a new weapon is being tested. The Hedgehog, a forward-firing mortar that launches 24 small bombs in an arc. Unlike depth charges, they don't explode unless they hit the submarine directly. No more thunderous barrages, just a deadly, surgical silence. By the spring of 1943, the first Hedgehog-equipped ships are patrolling the North Atlantic. April 1943, North Atlantic, aboard HMS Starling, under Captain Frederick John "Johnny" Walker. The destroyer escort pitches in heavy seas, radar blips flickering on the screen. Walker, a former anti-submarine instructor, stands on the bridge, his eyes scanning the dark horizon. Contact bearing 045 degrees, range 2,000 yards, the sonar operator calls out. Walker's voice is low, calm, practiced. Maintain speed, keep her steady, Hedgehog ready. Below deck, sailors load the spigot mortars. The air smells of grease and salt water. The hum of the ASDIC pings through the hull. Ping, ping, ping. The heartbeat of the hunt. Contact steady, says the operator. Depth, 150 feet. Walker nods. Fire. The Hedgehog lurches forward. Thunk, 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 sending a storm of spiked bombs arcing into the gray water. Silence follows. No thunder. No echo. Then suddenly a deep guttural roar. The sea erupts into a froth of oil, air, and wreckage. Oh. Direct hit, sir. Subs breaking up. Walker allows himself a thin smile. Gentlemen, he says, the tables have turned. News of the kill spreads quickly. Across mess decks and admiralty corridors, men whisper about a new kind of hunt. One the Germans can't escape. The days of wild depth charge guessing are ending. Now the Allies can hear the wolves before they strike. But beneath the Atlantic, the wolves are still moving, desperate, hungry, and defiant. June 1943, Mid-Atlantic Gap. Aboard U-552, Kapitänleutnant Eric Topp peers into the periscope, frustration etched deep into his face. The wolf pack is blind. Allied convoys now move with a new kind of discipline. Tighter, faster, ringed with escorts that seem to know when danger lurks. Silent running, he whispers. The hum of the electric motors drops to a faint whine. Men move slowly, afraid even to cough. Every sound is betrayal now. Moments later, the first ping reaches them. Metallic, sharp, rhythmic, ping, ping, ping. Sonar, constant, precise, it never stops. Topp's radio operator shakes his head. They're not losing contact anymore, sir. The captain presses his lips into a thin line. ASDIC, it's improved. He glances at the depth gauge, 160 meters, and sinking. They've learned. The destroyers above, HMS Wren and HMS Woodpecker, are part of Captain Walker's second support group, the most lethal anti-submarine force in the Atlantic. Using sonar sweeps and coordinated attacks, they track U-552 like hounds circling a foxhole. Each ping grows louder, closer, angrier. Then thunk, 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 hedgehogs fire. The sea explodes with precision, each blast rolling through the hull like a hammer blow. One shell punches through the outer casing near the stern. Lights flicker. Water bursts through a seam. Panic ripples through the men. Compartment 3 flooding. Battery shorting out. Top grips a handrail as the submarine lurches. The control room fills with the reek of chlorine gas from ruptured batteries. He knows what it means. Death by drowning or suffocation. Surface, he orders hoarsely. Blow ballast. The U-552 breaches the surface like a dying whale. Searchlights slice through the storm, catching her in a brutal white glare. Tracer rounds rip across the waves. On the bridge, a sailor yells, "Wir ergeben uns." We surrender, but the North Atlantic shows no mercy. Another hedgehog volley lands. The U-boat shudders, splits, and disappears beneath the foam. By midsummer 1943, the Battle of the Atlantic reaches its turning point. In May alone, 41 U-boats are destroyed. The worst losses Donitz's fleet has ever suffered. The Hunter's Ocean has become a graveyard. At Kriegsmarine headquarters in Paris, Admiral Karl Donitz stares at the casualty reports. His face, once stern and proud, now carries the weight of disbelief. How? He mutters to his staff officers. They were blind, they were clumsy. An aide, pale and trembling, replies quietly, "Not anymore, Herr Grossadmiral. Their sonar sees everything now." Donitz's silence stretches long. He removes his cap, rubs his eyes, and whispers almost to himself. So, the sea favors the listener. From that summer onward, the North Atlantic belongs to the Allies. Convoys sail in growing numbers, supplies reach Britain, and the once feared wolf packs begin to vanish, one by one, swallowed by the cold and the deep. September 1943, Lorient submarine pens occupied France. Inside the concrete fortress carved into the Breton coast, the air smells of diesel, mold, and defeat. Once alive with pride and laughter, the pens now echo with the metallic clang of repair crews patching holes in shattered hulls. U-boats limp home one after another, scarred, burned, half-sunk. Commander Otto Kretschmer, one of Germany's most decorated U-boat aces, walks the length of U-256. He runs his hand over a torn periscope shroud, still slick with Atlantic salt. "She won't sail again," the mechanic mutters. "Took a hedgehog right through the forward compartment." Kretschmer nods grimly. "And the men?" "7 survived." Silence. Across the base, a group of young recruits stares at a wall plastered with black-framed photos. The faces of captains who will never return. Dozens of eyes frozen in black and white. The laughter of 1941 is gone. In the command bunker, Admiral Donitz studies a new chart, one marked in red ink. Each pin represents a U-boat lost. The pins now cover half the Atlantic. A staff officer enters. "Herr Grossadmiral, message from Berlin. The Führer demands to know why our wolf packs are failing." Donuts' jaw tightens. He replies quietly, "Because we taught them how we hunt, and now they hunt like us, only better." He knows the truth. Sonar has changed everything. The British Type 144 ASDIC, paired with a Hedgehog, can track a submarine through evasive maneuvers once thought impossible. Allied aircraft now carry sonobuoys that can hear a propeller from miles away. Even in the dark, even in storms, the ocean whispers the position of every wolf. October 1943, North Atlantic. Aboard HMS Duke, the sonar operator leans over his screen. Contact bearing 083, range, closing fast. The officer of the watch frowns. Submarine? Definitely. Propeller noise, twin blades, probably a Type 7. The captain's voice cuts through the calm. "Keep her steady, Hedgehog ready." Below, sailors load the launchers, their movements rehearsed to perfection. Above deck, the cold wind lashes against their faces. The convoy ahead sails unbothered. Tankers, Liberty ships, cargo vessels bound for Liverpool. Fire! A flurry of Hedgehog bombs arcs through the air, splashing down in perfect formation. Seconds later, an eruption of foam and black smoke breaks the surface. A cheer ripples through the crew. Another U-boat destroyed. Another convoy saved. For the first time since 1939, the Allies are winning the Atlantic. The supply lines remain open. Food, fuel, and munitions pour into Britain. The invasion of Europe, D-Day, now feels possible. But beneath the waves, thousands of German sailors still fight on. Boys barely 20 years old, believing they can somehow turn the tide. They live days without sunlight, surviving on fear, stale air, and the memory of home. Every sound, a ping, a propeller, a creak of metal, is a warning of death. In the darkness of one such submarine, U-267, a young radio operator whispers, "Do you think they'll ever stop hunting us?" His captain answers after a pause, when the sea runs out of echoes. Outside, the sonar pings continue, relentless, mechanical, cold. The ocean no longer hides its secrets.